Time to feed the trolls.
Season 2!
Hello, this is Cute Fuzzy Weasel, and it's time once again to feed the trolls. And welcome back to part 2 of our 50 Shades of Stupid. We've gone through examples 1 through 25, and so far we have a resounding score of 6 to 18. So if I were to grade this like I'd grade, say, a math test, then let's see here. 6 divided by 25.24 times 100. Looks like he's got a score of 24. And for those of you who've never been to public school, that means F. And even if the next 26 through 50 are all on topic, he's still only going to get a score of 62, which is still an F. So right now, all we're really doing is seeing if he gets a high F or a low F. So without further grading, let's go ahead and get started with number 26.
About the lowering of sexual standards. Well, what exactly is the standard when it comes to homosexuals? Because if a parent says to their daughter, no messing around till you get married, and the daughter responds, well, that's not fair because my brother is a queer and he messes around with his boyfriend, and how come he can mess around and I can't?
Okay, so first off, what does that have to do with gay marriage again? All right, nothing? Okay, 6 to 19. Second off, what does that have to do with anything? I mean, aside from it being an assumption that homosexuals are more promiscuous than straight couples, something that the polls have really been split on, but if you as a parent aren't keeping tabs on both your kids, then yeah, your daughter has a good fucking point. Oh, right, because the brother's gay, and of course, if you're the dad, you don't pay attention to him at all, probably because he doesn't live with you anymore.
Number 27, unfair to compare queers to pedophiles or having sex with an animal.
What part of a relationship between two consenting adults don't you understand? And if you're really gonna sit there and compare homosexuals to pedophiles, then I'm gonna stand here and compare you to the Taliban. Let's clear this off. Let's clear this off and have similarities, differences. Let's come up with a couple of things. You're both ultra-religious. Similarity. The Taliban's Muslim, you're a Christian, so that's a difference. You both hate homosexuals, that's a similarity. You both hate secular society, apparently, so that's a similarity. Let's see. You say offensive things all the fucking time, that's a similarity. Now, I don't think you're so stupid that you'd actually try and do anything violent, so I'm gonna put that as a difference. So let's see. Oh, what do you know? It looks like the similarities have it. So, Mr. Taliban, tell me the rest of your point.
But it is fair to give a guilt trip to Christians when a gay commits suicide, for any gay that gets beat up or gets murdered. We just blame the Christians because they believe that stuff.
No, I blame the Christians because they're the ones telling the gay people that they're going to hell for something they can't control. And even then, I'm probably only going to focus on the ones like you. So, yeah, I'll give you a guilt trip anytime something bad happens to them. And you know why? Because you deserve it, motherfucker. That's why.
But let's take a hypothetical. Let's see how this will affect you. And how would this affect society? You have a man and a woman.
Hold on. This is two different examples in the same thing. So, okay, not only do you not have 50 examples on how gay marriage will affect society, but when it comes to homophobic bullshit, you've got more than 50 examples. Every little bit of your damn title lies. How can anyone trust you on anything?
You have a man and a woman. He goes off to war. He dies. Now, he did have an 18-year-old daughter when he died. The wife and the daughter are very heartbroken over it. Should the mother and daughter be allowed to marry? If so, why do you say that? And how would that affect society? And if not, why are you discriminating against them? I thought that was only for the Christians to do. So let me know where you stand on that, please. Thank you.
Okay, so even though he's already gotten a point over here, bringing it to 6 to 20, I'm going to go ahead and give him a point over here because the way I'm seeing it, this is actually two separate examples. Okay, so now it's 7 to 20. But let's think about this. Okay, the father goes off to war, he gets killed, and the mother and the daughter want to get married. Well, first off, that's an incestuous relationship. Now, normally we discourage incestuous relationships because the offspring can inherit certain really detrimental genetic abnormalities. But since it's between the mother and the daughter, that's really out of the question. Thing is, though, it's between the mother and the daughter. So what you got there is a really unbalanced relationship. I mean, the mother could basically lord over the daughter for whatever she needed, using her position in the family as a means to an end. So really, when you get down to it, this relationship can't really be compared to a typical same-sex relationship, because chances are it's less about love and more about retaining property.
Number 28, broken friendships. I've learned this when one of the guys that went to Bible college, I called him out on this queer crap, and guess what? We are no longer friends.
Oh my God! You mean you insulted someone for something they couldn't control? Or standing up for the rights of an oppressed minority, and they broke off their friendship with you? Holy shit! 7 out of 21.
Not only I, but my roommate in college was willing to help him with counseling. And guess what? He is now no longer friends either. So it breaks up friends because of this perversion.
Okay, so after you insulted him, your friend came in and said, "Don't worry, I know you're some kind of weird pedophile pervert, but I'm here to give you counseling and assure you that this thing that you have no control over, God hates you for it." And it somehow surprises you that the guy went, fuck you both. Really? Because if that's the case, there's this bridge in Brooklyn I've been meaning to sell.
Number 29. Elizabeth, it's a big one. Yep, my YouTube account representing truth was terminated because of too much offensive material on this particular matter.
I was privy to watch a couple of your videos, and you know what? They were all hateful, megalomaniacal, homophobic, racist rants. You're a despicable motherfucker, and your videos deserve to be taken down. Or at the very least, given a warning, this video may contain offensive material. YouTube's a private company. They have every right to censor what they have. I may not agree with all their censorship decisions, but they have a right to do them.
Number 30, film creativity. Of course, Christians, yes, have done some of this. I agree. But Mr. Glad, that queer prophet website.
Okay, hold on. I've got a little bit of trouble understanding what you're trying to say about Glad. Are you saying that they're a site run by a gay prophet? Or are you saying it's a homosexual-centered site that's for profit?
They really like to go after anyone that has the audacity to put any kind of gay, lesbian, bisexual, or transgender in a bad light in their film.
Well, yeah, they're a homosexual advocacy group. It's what they do. Kind of like how you guys went after Harry Potter for having witchcraft in it, remember? Even though Harry Potter witchcraft is to what actual Wiccans practice, the same way that EA's business decisions is to being a gamer-friendly company.
And you know what? Most of the time, Hollywood actually listens. But they don't listen most of the time to the Christians.
That's because oftentimes when a homosexual is put in a bad light in a film, they're played up to be the stereotypical, flaming, overly promiscuous, absolutely ridiculous-looking person that people like you seem to envision every gay person as. Whereas when you guys complain about a film, most of the time it has something to do with either they're showing witchcraft, or the film takes place millions of years ago and no, the Earth is only 6,000 years old! Or it's in space and we all know we're gonna be raptured before all that space stuff happens because Obama's the Antichrist. I'm just saying there's a bit of a difference between going after a film for portraying every gay person like this and going after a film because someone offhandedly mentions that we're all descended from apes.
Number 31, comedians. Oh, Richard Pryor. Oh, boy, the way he talks about God and the way he talks about Christians, it's pretty vulgar. Some would say pretty funny, too. And you know what? There's a lot of comedians today that continue that tradition. But when they slip up and they say something bad about the GLBT community, yeah, something bad begins to happen in their career. And many times they will apologize. But as far as the Christian, they're given the one finger salute while they bow to the God of Glad. It's unfortunate, but that's reality today. And that's how it affects comedians.
First off, I really don't think Richard Pryor is saying much about Christians nowadays, given that he's been dead for over 5 years. And second, it's kind of funny that Gabriel Iglesias should be one of your favorites, because near as I can tell, he doesn't have a problem with gay people. I don't know, it just seems like the only comedians you'd like would be the ones wearing half suspenders, you know, sitting on their porch with a huge rebel flag behind them, making really awkward racist comments and jokes while they hold their shotgun and drink their big jug of whiskey. But hey, you know, that's just me. It's just how I envision you.
Number 32, eHarmony.com, a Christian dating service, got sued by some queers, and they lost. And because of that, now same-sex partners can go through eHarmony.com. Isn't it nice the love that the queers would share with this private organization that forced a Christian dating service to compromise their values? And all the money that was given to the queers and all those that are affected, the employees of eHarmony.com.
I take it you really don't know why they were sued, do you? It's because eHarmony billed itself as a website where anyone could go on and find a partner. What they didn't say is they didn't really allow men to go look for other men, or women to go look for other women. So they were sued for basically false advertising back in 05 or 06. But because they didn't leave anything open for bisexual people, they were sued again. Because if you were bisexual, you had to pay for 2 accounts. So basically, bisexuals were being billed twice for the same service. I'll throw an 8 up here because, okay, it does kind of have something to do with gay marriage. But you know, so what if eHarmony got sued? If they wanted to remain a Christian company, they should have remained a Christian company. But if they want to appeal, again, to a broader audience, if they want to be this all-inclusive site and rake in that all-inclusive money, then yeah, they're gonna have to go out for everyone. And if that means allowing gay people to find matches, then yeah, gay people are gonna find matches.
Number 33, healthcare costs. About $600,000 a patient. Those that have HIV, the virus that causes AIDS. That cost has to be passed on to someone. And my guess, that someone is you.
Okay, so what are you really saying here? I mean, I'm going to put a point over here because it has nothing to do with gay marriage once again. But really, what was that cost analysis thing you just brought up? That seems rather Third Reich-ish, doesn't it? These people with HIV, they cost you money. Do you want them to continue costing you money? That actually sounds kind of scary. Like, what are you really advocating there? Because it sounds to me like you advocate leaving those people to die. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's really what it sounds like. And if that's the case, man, I can just feel the Christ love coming off of you and into the gutter. So not only are you some kind of weird, homophobic, dumb fuck, but you're also potentially a Nazi. You know, I keep thinking that I'm gonna hit rock bottom with you, but I just keep on going.
Number 34, I call it sexual suicide. 300,000 men who have sex with other men have died of AIDS. And those men have either a mother, father, brother, or sister. So we're looking at least over 1 million people that are affected by this type of lifestyle. The sad thing is only 2% of the population is gay, and yet they are responsible for over half of all new HIV cases. It's a real shame that we would want to promote this in marriage.
26, Mr. Nazi. So, number 1, these people aren't catching HIV because they're gay. They're catching HIV because they're not using protection. And number 2, what does that have to do with not giving them rights?
Number 35, man sues Bible publishing company because the Bible is against homosexuality. There's emotional damages of millions of dollars, but he did lose. The way that affects society is we get a good laugh.
I'll put some links to it below, but I'll give you this. I personally wouldn't really sue a Bible publishing company. I mean, the reason the guy did it was because the verses caused him mental anguish, basically caused his family to walk away from him. But as far as getting upset over what an ancient book says, you know, whatever. You're really not supposed to take the entire thing literally. Even Christians have said that. And while that does bring up the issue of, okay, what is supposed to be taken literally and what isn't supposed to be taken literally, really the whole thing about suing because of a religious text, I don't know, it just seems kind of like a waste of time.
However, I want to bring a point for you to consider. There are those that have ministries to homosexuals. There are those that have churches full of homosexuals. Yet I know that when I was in school, whenever you had to do a paper, you had a thesis statement that would support whatever you're trying to bring out. So what are the two scriptures that a homosexual pastor can use that God has ordained sodomy? Because I could give plenty on how God has ordained a man and a wife. And if you can't do that, how can you say it's of God if God never said it?
I don't know, and to be honest, I'm not entirely sure that it's that relevant. I mean, the Bible advocates a lot of things that modern Christians don't necessarily hold true. It advocates slavery. It's been used to justify racism. Hell, there was a guy who I had on the show that looked like Santa who used it to try and push that the earth was fucking flat. So if there's a group of Christians that want to ignore the Bible verses about homosexuality, let them ignore them. Ignore them the same way I'm sure you ignore the verses about not eating shellfish and stoning people who work on Sunday.
Number 36, the day of silence. Very simple. This affects a lot of people because a lot of people have their kids in public schools. So you can't say it doesn't affect anybody. My son comes home and says, Dad, can I have tomorrow off? And I said, why? It's because they're having the day of silence. I said, what's that? Basically, you're not supposed to say anything, and thus you are supporting all this queer stuff. And I says, that's not good. And what happens if you say something? You could get suspended. So I decided to have him stay home. And the audacity for people to say it doesn't affect us, how dare they do such a thing? That is my kid, not the school's kid. Get a life.
Okay, first off, I have serious doubts about your claim. From what I've been able to gather on the day of silence, it's voluntary. That is to mean students can opt out of it. So if your kid was being threatened with suspension if he talked, then the people weren't really following the rules of the day of silence properly. Number two, the day of silence isn't so much about supporting gay marriage as it is simply supporting a gay person's right to go to school without fear of being bullied.
Number 37, a lesbian wedding for little kids. In California, a bunch of little kids went to a lesbian wedding. And you say, aw, isn't that so sweet? Did they take those same kids to a real wedding? I think not. That to me is just the blatant hypocrisy and the agenda at full force. And you know what? The parents weren't even informed. They didn't have a say. Oh, that's right. They're just the parents, because the radical queer agenda must prevail.
Okay, I know you're getting tired of me saying it this way, but number one, WND is not a good source for news. It's a far-right Christian publication that is known for skewing the facts. But if you were to look down at the bottom of your own source, you would see the following. 2 families of children in the class chose not to give permission for the trip, their children remaining at the school with another first-grade class. But of course, you said they weren't given the option, but the article says they did. So either you didn't read the whole article, or you just lied. So now you're a bigoted, homophobic, dumb fuck, Taliban Nazi liar.
Number 38, the attack of religious freedom on adoption agencies. In Massachusetts, when same-sex marriage became legal, the state told the Catholic adoption agencies they must have queers as adoptive parents as an option. The Catholic Church does not believe that, and rightfully so, even though I myself am not Roman Catholic. The point is, it's an attack against one of our most important freedoms.
Okay, I actually agree that a private religious organization shouldn't be required by the state to break core tenets of their belief system just to continue to operate. However, if you were to actually go to the source that he provides in the video, you'll find these words at the very top of the page. Roman Catholic bishops in Illinois have shuttered most of the Catholic charities' affiliation in the state rather than comply with the new requirement that says they must consider same-sex couples as potential foster care and adoptable parents if they want to receive state money. That's a whole different ballgame.
One of the main reasons why they came here, freedom of religion.
Actually, the original Pilgrims came here to escape the Church of England. So if you really think about it, they came here for freedom from religion.
And the audacity for people to support and celebrate when this happens. It just goes beyond my thinking.
You know, I gotta believe a lot of stuff goes beyond your thinking.
Of why are you an American and you agree with this decision? Number 39, congregations losing their place of worship. Basically, you have a denomination that people have grown up all their life, and because of this queer crap, now they accept same-sex marriage and an ordination of clergy, which is so disgusting in the sight of God. Obviously, there's no fear of God with these queers. That's what it comes down to. But anyway, they lose their place of worship because the denomination decides to go the road of perversion instead of staying with the scriptures and by the traditions that they've had all these years. And thus, congregations no longer have a place to worship. Isn't that grand? Thanks to the queer agenda.
Hey, if they don't like it, they're free to leave that church. And as for who that church actually belongs to, I'd say it belongs to whoever it is who purchased it. And if that was a collective purchase by the congregation, then I don't know, figure out what the majority thinks and then go for it.
Number 40, being a photographer in this queer age. There was a Christian photographer who got in trouble because the queers wanted a special photographer for their special event. But the Christian says, no, that's against my belief. They took the Christian photographer to court and they won. And while you're cheering that this happened, let me put this particular scenario in front of you. Let's say a band was recording, but they needed a drummer, and the drummer happened to be queer. And the drummer agreed to go in, and then the drummer had a change of heart, just like the Christian photographer did, because they realized one of the songs was saying, kill all gays, kill all gays. Now, should we apply the same standard to that queer drummer as the queers put to the standard of the Christian photographer? Judgy.
Okay, this is a bit of a complicated one. On the one hand, he's kind of right. If this is something the photographer doesn't personally believe in doing, then, really, it's within her rights to refuse service of something that she doesn't want to do. On the other hand, it's discriminatory. Of course, the whole issue could have been avoided if she had simply said no because of, equipment issues.
Number 41. Parents cannot have control over their little child reading A King and a King. No, the only thing they can do is opt out.
Wait a minute, then they do have control. In the first part of your example, you said
parents cannot have control over their little child reading A King and a King.
And then in the very next part of your example, you say
no, the only thing they can do is opt out.
Then you do have control! Point over here! If you can opt out of your kid reading it, then you have control over your kid reading it.
Number 42, public records. A birth certificate shows you're male or female and your name. Now, with this queer agenda, you could have people going over and changing their sex and their name? Really? So where does this stop? What about a driver's license? What about all kind of tax papers? There's a whole can of worms that this has opened up. But that's right, the queer agenda must prevail against all else.
It's funny you should say the last part of that example, because the main reason transgendered people or people who get a sex change do this sort of thing is because people like you have messed up the tax code to the point where they have to do that in order to get a passport, a marriage license, and file certain income taxes.
Number 43, getting fired at your job for having a view. Now, there's a particular man, and I'll put it up on the screen for you, that never mentioned his views at work, but because he wrote about it outside of work, he got fired. Isn't that swell? I thought freedom of speech was important, but no, not when it crosses the radical queer agenda.
Actually, it doesn't really matter when you're dealing with a private company, particularly when you're making really stupid comments about how the gays hate Western civilization, and they're acting like racists looking for equal rights. Seriously, that's what this guy Frank Turek actually wrote in his book. And you know what else? From what I've been able to gather, Cisco and Bank of America actually went and rehired his ass. So I don't know why you're complaining.
Number 44, the recent change of the military and their attitude toward queers. So guys, watch it when you're in the showers. Be very, very careful.
Again! I'm getting really fucking sick of saying this. Nothing to do with gay marriage.
Number 45, the parade. I remember going to family parades when I was a little kid, but now the queers have made full frontal nudity as part of a parade, just for all the little children to see the family values that are so lacking at a pride parade.
Oh God, point over there first off. Yeah, there's some full frontal nudity in some gay pride parades. You remember going to gay pride parades when you were 2? Seriously, someone with your issues actually went to a couple of those as a kid? And you know what? Just because it's in a few gay pride parades doesn't mean it's in every parade. I'm pretty sure you don't see a bunch of naked guys running down the street during the Macy's parade. At least... Okay, I'm pretty sure you don't see a bunch of naked guys running down the street during a Macy's parade that are supposed to be there.
Number 46, you have a Christian who has a business in Connecticut. They discover that one of their employees is a homosexual. No big deal until they apply for medical insurance. And according to the state, they have to give it to them. For all of you that would cheer and say, yes, that must be. Let's put this scenario out. Let's say that same particular business, there's one particular guy that is also working there, and he has a brother that doesn't have good insurance. Should he also get insurance, or are we going to discriminate him and yet the homosexual will get it and his partner? You explain to me that logic, because I think it's an unfair bias toward the homosexual community.
How is it a bias? You're giving one side the same rights as the other because they're both equal. How is that? I mean, if anything, that's anti-bias.
Number 47, the giving of blood. It's very clear. The FDA says that men that have sex with men cannot give blood. There's a reason for it, folks. So another person doesn't have to die. Can you understand that simple concept? And for those smart alecks out there who says, well, duh, all the blood gets tested. Well, duh, there's a window of opportunity where HIV cannot be detected. So even if you test the blood, you can still have a period of time where it's not detected and someone get HIV, the virus that causes AIDS.
You mean like how there's a window of opportunity where any disease can't be detected? And for the record, the newer HIV tests can find it within 20 days. And as of right now, there are serious talks within the FDA of easing and even lifting that ban. Point goes over here because, again, it has nothing to do with gay marriage. So, duh, you're wrong and off topic again.
Number 48, a transgender bill and the bathrooms in Connecticut. Basically, a transgender could go into whatever bathroom of their choice. If you're a father, you have a 6-year-old daughter, and then you see some guy coming out, what would you think? Would you be concerned about your daughter? I know I would, and I know many would. I guess people just don't think this thing through good enough. That's my view.
God damn it. You're just going for a really low F, aren't you? And as for the whole bathroom issue, I mean, what business is it of yours? I mean, I love your little cautionary tale of, oh, your little child, she's going into the bathroom, and all of a sudden a big, greasy, fat dude comes out with a crazed look in his eyes. Alright, fine, I have my own fucking example. Let's say it's a smaller, skinnier person who identifies themselves as a woman, but they're forced to go into the male bathroom where a bunch of big, fat, ugly redneck truckers beat the shit out of them, tear their head off, and impale it on one of the urinals. See, I can come up with scary examples too.
Number 49, consider the sports world. Now, maybe no one has a big deal with a pro wrestler.
God, just consider being on topic! I mean, look at the difference between these two fucking scores! Your video is a lie! And you lie constantly in your examples. You're a bigoted, lying, homophobic, Nazi, Taliban, fucking stupid person. I can't even come up with a combination of expletives that best describe you because I'm so fucking tired standing here for the past 5 hours going over all your little sources to find the real story because I can't trust you because nothing you've said has had even an ounce, kernel of truth. Not even Glenn Beck skews the story as bad as you do.
A transgender runner. I mean, a guy that's now a girl.
I don't care. I don't care about sports people. God damn it. What does this have to do with gay marriage? Your video is entitled The 50 Fucking Stupid Reasons That Gay Marriage Affect... That's not even the title, and I don't care. I really wish I could take a break from this too. I really do. I wish I could stop the episode right here and just go, okay, this is enough of this. We're done. But we're not done. Not really. There's still 3.5 minutes left in this stupid video. And this video, I mean, I haven't edited it yet, but I bet you it's around the 30-minute mark by now. It's just, I can't... Let's keep going. I mean, he can only screw up more, right? This can only become more infuriatingly inaccurate, but I've come this far, haven't I?
And now, coming to the big one, number 50.
Oh, thank good merciful God.
Number 50, the Boy Scouts. I was a Boy Scout when I was a kid. I loved it. It was great. What I don't like is a private club like the Boy Scouts being bullied by the radical gay agenda. Playing the victim, but in reality, you are the one that's being the bully. If someone wants to have a club and discriminate against someone, that is their right. How dare you do otherwise? You notice there's no girls in the Boy Scouts. And why is that? Because the club is designed for young boys. What part of that do you not understand? So lay off. It's none of your business. If you want to have a homosexual queer Boy Scouts, then do it. The one thing is, it won't succeed like the original because the original is genuine and yours is not.
The Boy Scouts get fucking government funding, you ass! Oh, and by the way, I'm sure you're the best fucking role model for them too. Hey kids, join the Boy Scouts because one day you'll grow up to be this prick. And guess what? Guess what, asshole? Another point over here, because once again, your goddamn example has nothing to do with gay marriage. Your video really should be entitled 13 Reasons Gay Marriage May Affect Society in My Warped Little Head. But let's keep going. We only got a little bit of this video left after all.
Now I will come to the conclusion of my video and my concluding remarks. I have a few important remarks I'd like to conclude with. 1. For those in the past that have called me stupid and retarded or believe so today and choose to comment on the video, then if we were to take your premise, if a retarded person according to you could come up with 50 examples of how same-sex marriage affects society, that would mean you should be able to come up with a lot more.
You only came up with 13. And out of that 13, I debunked all of them. Every last one of them. So really, you came up with 0. What is it? It's like I'm in the fucking Twilight Zone with you. This would be like if someone made a video entitled 50 Reasons Trees Affect Society. And his examples were like, well, my son wanted a treehouse, so I had to go build a treehouse. Actually, no, that's not true, because that would be on topic. They'd probably be more like, trees exist. Therefore, we have oxygen in our air. And now I have to breathe. Let me think of something different. Trees have the letter T in their name. You know what also has the letter T? The word tea. What did the British tax? Tea. Therefore, trees caused the American Revolution. That's what I might as well be. In fact, that's not a bad idea. I might make a video like that just to blow off steam after this is done.
And if that is true, what that means is that you are the one that is hateful. You are the one that is wicked. And why do I say that? The reason why I say that is because you know better, and yet you purposely throw that in a person's face. Second, concerning this whole queer thing, and notice that I hardly use anything concerning the Bible. I didn't quote anything. There's a reason for it, because, oh, everything's based on your Bible. Yes, it is.
No, it isn't, but do continue.
But because I have the fear of the Lord, which is the beginning of wisdom.
Did you just say you have wisdom? Oh, stand aside. Here comes this asshole's mighty wisdom. Look at his mighty wise score. Holy shit. Only a true genius could come up with this spread.
God has given me wisdom in putting this together. Now, one last thing. The way people are convinced as Christians that this garbage is okay is a simple tactic. You simply get the Christians to be around queers long enough that corruption will rub off on them and they'll change their views. The very one that attacked me all along and got my YouTube account down, that's what she has done to convince Christians.
You mean this lady? Yeah, that's the username of the person I think he's talking about. She's the one that blew the whistle on you? Round of applause for her.
Yet, according to the Word of God, it is very clear from Scripture that Jesus and what He did on the cross has the power to change the homosexual into a new creation. And to those who have the audacity to call themselves Christian and push this garbage, you are denying the power of God. You're denying what the power of the blood of Jesus does. And God will hold you accountable. That's it. And may God be more.
To any Christian out there who is both a Christian and doesn't believe a word of this guy's bullshit, I give you a round of applause. You are good people, regardless of whatever crap this guy decides to spew. I believe you can be both Christian and support LGBT rights. Because ultimately, it's not about gay rights. It's about human rights. This guy doesn't support human rights. He thinks that a certain segment of our population needs to be downplayed, spat upon, segregated, oppressed, and ultimately destroyed. He and Caden Cowger and whoever the hell that fat bearded guy was, false gospel mocker, and conservative elite, they are all more useless, in my view, than the most idiotic game ranting troll I've ever done. Because those guys fundamentally fail as human beings. And I feel really glad that I'm not shouting anymore. Because it's done. It's over. I did his video. 13 to 37. Let's calculate his grade. 13 out of 50. 26. Not only is that an F, it's an F minus. Your video is a fail. So I'm done. I've eviscerated him. It's over. This is Cute Fuzzy Weasel, and if you have any trolls you want me to feed, list them in the comments below, and you know the rest. Have a good day. Wait.
God! Oh yeah, it was actually pretty safe. You know what? Screw this, let's just dump a bunch of on the pizza.